Hello guys, welcome to Paraguide. Today here we are going to develop a leave management system which will help us to automate the process of request for leave. In many organizations you might have seen that employees send an email to their managers for approval, and then manager approves or rejects the request, and then same will be forwarded to HR, and so on the process continues. So we are going to automate this process here. So basically firstly we are going to develop a new request form, that is nothing but a new leave request form, which will have fields like request type, from date, to date, who is the approver, what is the reason for taking the leave, and so on. We'll come to that this part later on when we'll be developing our form. So basically it will go through a process like when a form is submitted by an employee, and it will trigger an email to manager with all the details and along with the link for approval or rejection. And now as soon as manager receives an email, manager clicks on that approval links, and he can take an action like whether you want to approve or reject the request. Once the approval action is taken by manager, an email will be triggered to employee that yes, your request has been approved or rejected, along with an email to HR and the manager who has taken the action. And later on we are going to develop a list view, you can say, where employees can see their request submitted. And one more point that we are going to cover here is like employee once employee has forwarded the request or submitted the request. Now let's say employee want to cancel that request, and he doesn't want to take any leaves. So in that case, employees have the ability or capability to cancel the submitted request. So now this is our approval workflow, uh, which is just now what we have discussed. An employee will submit the request, it will trigger an email to manager and requester. It will go through approval process, manager approval process, and based on approval or rejection, emails will be triggered to let's say if it is approved, email will be triggered to HR, requester and manager, and if it is rejected, email will be triggered to requester that yes, your request has been rejected, and which will come to our end of workflow. So now let's begin by creating our new time of request form. I have a very good site, SharePoint site created here, which is nothing but leave management. And now let's create a list first, which will serve as a form for us. So I'll click on add an app. I'll create a custom list. We'll give it name as leave request. Click on create. So now just let's go on creating uh, the form, the details that are required on form. Click on list settings. Click on create column. First we'll create column called request type, which will be our choice column. And let's enter some values for this choice column, like what whether it's annual leave or paternity leave or sick leave, or it's a comp off or whether request will apply for optional holiday. I'll keep this as drop down menu, and I'll select the default value as any value. And what we want here is that this column should contain information, that this is the mandatory field. So I'll select here yes and click on OK. Let's just create few more columns which will be needing. Now from date, I'll take its type as date and time. Yes, we want this column to have information, or we want that this column should be mandatory. Now let's date and time format and click on OK. And similarly, let's create to date, take its type as date and time. We also want that this column should also contain information. Select it as date and time and click on OK. Create another column which will be our approver, or which is nothing but our manager, or a manager of an employee who will be approving the request, and its type will be person or group field. We want that this column should also contain information, and we'll keep all other settings as it is and click on OK. And we'll create one more column called reason for leave. I'll take this as multiple lines of text, and want this as plain text. I also want that there should be reason for leave, and click on OK. And lastly, we'll create another column called contact number during leave. Take this as number field. We also want that this column should also contain information, and let's make like I don't want any decimal places, so let's make it 0 and click on OK. Now that we have created our leave request list, now what I don't want this title column. So what we'll do, we'll just remove that. So to remove that, click on advanced settings, click on yes for allow management of content types, and click on OK. This will basically display the content type. So now click on content type item, which is the base class for our all lists, and I want that this title column to be hidden, and click on OK. Now let's just go back to our leave request list settings, and still you can see the title column is there. Now we'll remove it from our all items view, display title, and click on OK. Now you can see that leave column is not title column is not visible. Now what I want to create a workflow. Before that, let's see how our form looks like. I will click on new item or new leave request, and you can see this is our form. So date, from date, approver, reason for leave, and contact number during leave. Now what we want to uh, develop a process, or we want to develop a workflow which will automate this process. Now let's just open the SharePoint designer and connect to the site leave management, and go to workflows, and create a list workflow on the list just now what we have created, leave request, and we'll give it as name leave approval process, and click on OK. Let's wait till SharePoint downloads the metadata. Yes, we are done now. So now let's begin creating our SharePoint designer workflow. The first thing, as soon as the process is started, I want to log. I want to do the logging that manager approval pending. Okay, so as soon as a request will be submitted, it will log to our history list like it is pending for manager approval. Now that we have added a log of manager approval pending, now we will set a workflow status. Now go to action and set a workflow status. So what will set a workflow status as? It is pending for manager approval. Click on OK. This workflow status will help us to identify where our workflow is. And now let's add a time which will be acting as a timeline for manager to complete the work, complete the task. So I'll add 3 days to today's date, and I'll create a variable. I have created a variable called due date which will save its value. Now let's log one more thing here, like log, and click on enter. So this will give an option to enter or log. We'll write this as assigning task to manager for approval. Now that we have completed basic steps, now we have to assign a task. So just go to action, click on assign a task. So this will add this one, and just click on this user. Basically this is the participant or to whom we want to send this email. let's just click on just select user, click on workflow lookup for a user and click on add. What we want is from our current item we want the approver, and keep return field as login name and click on OK. So this task will be assigned to approver, and I'll give the task title as request for leave approval, and in description I'll add details like hi, leave request has been submitted to you with below details. So let's just go on adding a few details here. From the current item, what I want to add let's say who has submitted this request. So I'll add here created by, and I'll keep this as I'll just add details here. Who is the requester, and from date and to date, and I'll display that ISO formatted date, or let's just keep as a long date only. So from date to date, similarly just click on add or change lookup, go to data sources current item, and then add here as to date, which is as long date. So click on OK. I want to add one more detail like what is the reason for leave. Reason for leave. Click on add or change lookup current item and reason. You can see this these columns are what we have created in our leave request list. So, and I'll keep it as plain text and click on OK. Just adding thank you, and now and we just click on OK. Now what is the due date? Due date is what we have created. Click on the FX bar, what you see here, go to workflow variables and parameters, and we have to select the due date what we have created just now, and click on OK. So it will be it will take due date as what we have created here. Now in task options, wait for task completion, and email options we don't need it right now, and in outcome options keep all other things as it is and click on OK. Now this task is assigned to a manager. Now we want to check whether the task is approved or rejected, and based on that we want to take further action. Now let's just go to condition and add condition. If any value equals condition, and now if value, what value we will be taking here is our workflow variables and outcome 1. Click on OK. This outcome 1 is nothing but what action manager will be taking. Now if variable outcome is equal to approved, then we want to log again here like we'll add logging as up leave request approved. Click on OK. Now we'll set the workflow status here. Yes, here please. So then set workflow status as approved. And now we want to send an email. So just go to action and we have an option here to send an email. Now to whom we need to send the email if the request is approved. So if the request is approved, we need to send an email to requester, manager and HR. So now let's just add the name of HR here. Click on the book icon what you are seeing here, and I want to add people or group from a SharePoint site. I have users created for this SharePoint site. Let's say Arthur Peters is my HR person. I'll click on add and I'll search that user. Yeah, I can see Arthur Peters here, and double click on it and click on OK. Again click on OK. Click on OK. This is just a warning that SharePoint gives. Now I have added my HR person here. Now what I want here is I want to add an employee who has created this request, or a requester you can say basically. So just click on user who created the current item, click on add and click on OK. Click on OK. Just a warning by SharePoint, may not be this selected users may not be valid on this site. This workflow is published on. Just click on OK. Now I want to add a manager who has approved this request in CC. So what I will do here is I'll click on workflow lookup for user, click on add, and from my current item I will select approver and click login name and click on OK. So my subject will be leave request approved, and I'll send an email to requester like hi. From current item I want to select the person who has created this request. Hi requester, your leave request has been approved. Thank you. Click on OK. Now that we have completed approved part, now what if the request is rejected? Now similarly we'll add one more condition here. If any value equals value, so in value we'll get the workflow variables and parameters and outcome 1 and click on OK. Now if value is rejected, then we will add logging. So type log and click on enter, and leave request rejected. Click on OK, and we'll set a workflow action. Go to set workflow status and we'll just add rejected. Click on OK. Now we want to send an email. Again similarly go to action tab, click on send an email, and we want to send an email. So this time we just want to send an email to requester, user who has created the current item. Click on OK, and similarly I'll add a manager or approver who has taken an action on that request. Click cancel, click on workflow lookup for user, click on add, and from current item we will be selecting approver and click on OK. Now leave request, subject will be leave request rejected. Hi requester, Your leave request has been rejected. Thank you. Click on OK. Now, in latest versions of SharePoint Designer, we have to insert a transition to state, which is nothing but end of workflow, or go to stage. Go to end of workflow. This stage is nothing but this stage. We can also rename this, let's say manager approval process. We are done with our workflow. Now click on save. This will save our workflow, and once our workflow is saved, we will check for any errors if there are. Just click on check for errors. So there are no workflow errors. Now in order to attach a workflow to a list, we need to publish this workflow. But before publishing the workflow, we have to check like when this workflow will be triggered. So here go back to our leave approval process workflow. Here we have an option to start the workflow automatically, or when an item is created, or start workflow automatically when the item is changed. What we want is this workflow should trigger when an item is created. So I'll uncheck this workflow to be started manually. Click on start the workflow automatically when item is created, and click on save. And now we can publish this workflow. Click on publish. Just go to list and libraries. This is our leave request. Just click on it, and you can see here under workflows we have a workflow that we have created just now. So now let's just go back to our workflow or our list. My current user is Paraguide Technologies, and I'll submit a leave request. I'll select leave as sick leave, and from date I'll select as tomorrow, and to date as tomorrow, and I'll select my approver as Elvin Fender. So I'll just enter Elvin Fender here, who is my manager, or who is a manager for Paraguide Technologies, you can say. As you can see, it has automatically resolved Elvin Fender because this field is a people picker field. And now I am not feeling well, so cannot join office. And what the contact number during leave, and click on save. So as soon as you click on save, an email will be sent to Elvin Tender. So this is what our list item is. Now let's just log in with this user who is our manager. I'll just sign out from here, because this user Elvin or manager must have received an email which will have all the details. So let's just log in with manager's account. click on sign in. No, I don't want to save it. Oh, so this is what you can see here. This manager do not have permission to access this site. Now in order to give permission to Elvin, we will go to site settings, we will click on site permissions, and we will create a group which will be a manager's group, and we will give this user a group as contribute and click on create. Now we need to add a manager to this managers group. Just click on new, add users, and enter the name or email ID, and I don't want to send any invitation, and click on share. Now this user will have access to our site so that he can take the action of approval. Similarly, I want to create another group, HR's group. So again go to site settings, under site settings click on site permissions and click on create group. Name it as HR, click on contribute and click on create. So this will create HR group, and I will add my HR person. What we have selected is Arthur, and click on share. Now that we have given the required permissions to our users, now let's just log in with our manager, who is Elvin, and we will go to the mailbox and check whether we have received the task that needs to be completed or not. So I'll just go to the mailbox, yeah. So as you can see here, a task is assigned to manager. So just click on that mailbox. So just double click on it. Now just click on request for leave approval. It will open our task and click on edit item. So keep everything as it is and click on approve. Now this leave request has been approved. Now what we want is, we want to go to employee login again, which is nothing but Paraguide Technologies, and check whether a requester has received an email or not. Before that, we can check in manager login itself whether they have received any email or not. So yes, as you can see, the HR person and Paraguide Technologies are in 2. They have received an email, and manager is in CC like, hi Paraguide Technologies, your leave request has been approved. So this completes our approval part, and similar is the case for rejected email. Once you click on rejected, email will be triggered to requester that your leave request has been rejected, and which will bring an end to our workflow. So now that we have completed the approval process, what we want is now that requesters should see the request submitted by them. So for that we will have to create a new view on our leave request list. So this is how we are going to do here. Go to site contents, let's switch to our classic SharePoint view. click on leave request list and go to list settings from list tab. Scroll down and click on create view, and we'll create a standard view. Just give it name as my request, and what columns we need to display here is, we can leave all the columns as it is, and then we need to filter the items, and it should be created by is equal to me. So what this will do is it will filter the requests which are created by me, and just click on OK. So as you can see, this view is created my request, and I can see only the request submitted by me. If someone else submits another request, I will not be able to see this in my request view. So now that we are done with our leave request form and my request, we now have to cancel the leave request submitted by requester. So for that we will have to add one checkbox which will be shown in our edit form, as we don't need it in new form, as it logically doesn't make any sense to add cancel request checkbox in new form. So for that we'll just add a column called cancel request, whose type will be a checkbox under our leave request list. So just go to list tab, go to list settings, and just create a new column, and whose type and whose name will be cancel request, and whose type will be yes or no type, and I want its default value to be no, and click on OK. Now that we have added this column, so we now want to check the condition in workflow, like whether this request is cancelled or not. But before that what we need is, we have to hide this checkbox in from new form. So we need to customize this edit form. So for that just create a copy of it. So I'll create a copy of our new form, leave, let create this, set this form as our default form, and click on OK. So as you can see, we have added this column, we have added this column cancel request. So when you go to a new form, you can also see this column here as well, which is not the expected result, this cancel request. So we need to hide this cancel request. So it is very simple to hide this cancel request. Just edit this form, just search for cancel request here, yeah. So we need to hide this tr itself. So I'll use CSS for it, style, and I'll set its display as none, and click on and save it. So this will save our form, and this will ask that if you customize this, you will use your base definition. So click on yes. So now when you again go to leave request, and click on new item, you will not see that cancel request here, and this is the URL of our new form. So new form leave.aspx. What I don't want this as well. We'll hide this as well, leave approval process. So I'll hide this as well. Just save and refresh it. This will hide that leave approval process as well. Yes, it's gone. So now we have to customize our workflow or add a condition in workflow to check whether a request has been cancelled. So just insert a condition here, if any value equals. So what I want to check my current value, current items, cancel request is equal to no. If it's no, then process for manager approval process and all. And now add one more condition here to check if its leave request is cancelled. So just go to condition, add if any value equals, click on fx bar and click on from current item and field as cancel request, click on OK. If current value equals yes, then we need to send an email to manager, HR. Probably we don't need to send an email to HR, we just have to send an email to requester keeping manager in CC. So go to action tab and click on send an email. So just click on these users and I want to send an email to requester. So as we did previously, so just go to workflow, look up for a user or a user who has created the current item directly, click on add, click on OK. Now I want to add manager in CC. So just click on this book bar and Elvin is our manager. So just enter the email ID of Elvin here and click on add. This will add Elvin vendor and click on OK. So leave request has been cancelled. Or probably I think we need to reverse it, because we need to send an email to manager that request has been cancelled. So I'll just remove it and I'll add a Elvin vendor into and who has created the item in CC, and I'll just remove it and click on OK. Now this looks good. So hi, this is to notify you that leave request has been cancelled. Click here for details. So here for details, I'll just now make here as our link. So we need to just get the URL of this. Probably we will need edit form URL. So how you can get that? Just edit this request, click on items tab and click on edit item. This is the URL with the ID of my request. So just copy this URL for in which the query string is ID, and just open the edit string builder bar. And now I want to generalize it. I don't want to keep it only for particular request. So I just will remove this one and just click on add and change lookup. I want that current items ID. So just select field from sources ID and click on OK and click on OK, again click on OK. So this will add a URL for the current item, and I'll just add thank you. Or more probably we need to add our HR person as well, because leave might have approved and HR person might have received an email. So we need to notify HR person as well. So just add HR person as well in that too and click on OK. Just click on OK. Yes, so this is how it will look now, and just now save it. Might take some time to save. Yes, it's done, and now publish the workflow. So now we have created our workflow, and probably there is one thing that you need to consider. We don't want the user to be redirected to edit form, we just want user to view the form. So in workflow what we have selected is edit form URL. We don't need it, that's a mistake. You should look into it, and I want what I want here is to open the display form URL. So directly if you want, so just go to atoms tab and click on view atom. Now this is the display form we need to show to users. So you just have to copy this display form.aspx and update it in our workflow. So where we have added our click here link. So you have to be very careful while doing this, because users might get access to edit form there, even if they are not aware of the URL. Just say click here, add display form here and click on OK. Click on OK. Now we need to publish it again. So now our workflow is published. Now just go to leave request and probably cancel this request. Go to atoms tab, click on edit atom, and I will cancel this request and click on save. So what this will do, this will trigger a workflow on change atom. So so one more thing that needs to be considered here is, if you want that workflow should fire on change process as well, so you have to check this box like start the workflow automatically and an atom is changed. I have already done that. So now, and workflow might have triggered an email, so let's check whether user has received email or not. Yes, so as you can see, this is the requester, so he might be in CC, and manager and HR person are CC. So like if you click here for details, you will see our display form. Yes, so these are the details for this leave request. So this is it for now guys. Thank you for watching this video.